specifically if you know that you want to freelance and you've never done regulatory writing before, is it possible to break in as a freelancer? And what advice would you have to somebody who wants to do that?
There's lots of different avenues, right? So we talked about the CRO route. So that's a way to break in if you don't have the comfort level or the experience to do it. They typically will take folks that don't have as much experience, but are regulatory writers. Having a bachelor's of science is usually an entry point. So either a nursing degree or one of the natural sciences, or even a BA I've seen in some cases. So that's a good starting point. So that might be a heavier lift if you don't have that to get that kind of qualification. Make sure you're a member of AMWA, part of the professional societies, whether you're doing the European Medical Writing Association or American, get those memberships and work them. So networking, I'm going to do a roundtable on networking at AMWA because I think it's completely underutilized as a tool to not only get clients, but to get hooked into medical writing. So for example, when I transitioned to medical writing, I knew other people who transitioned from trial management to medical writing. They were my friends. We had been in a career for a long time. So I'd call them up and go like, yeah, I'm interested in getting into regulatory writing. Like what's involved? And eventually it's like, hey, we have a project that we need help with. Do you want to, like, I'll help you do it. Can you just do these things that are not client facing, but we need some help. If you want, you said you needed some experience doing that, you were interested. This is a great way to get your feet wet if you want to. So leverage your network and the people you know. Go to the regulatory sessions at AMWA or the regulatory sort of symposiums and be around the people that do that kind of work. Ask questions, get the experience in those ways that you can. You can do it the way I did it. Obviously, it's not a freelancer perspective, but you get an entry-level position full-time somewhere and you get all the training and development. So when I was at Sanofi, it was amazing because they had a whole suite of trainings. You can do training on everything from how to use Excel better to how to do project management and timelines to how to do all these very role-related things and not role-related things. Oh, okay, if you want to go to the DIA conference and do all these educational things, like, yeah, that's on the company. So an avenue is to, even if it's kind of like, well, I'm not a freelancer, but I'm doing this for a while so that I can get the access to all these unbelievable resources, which would cost you prohibitive amount if you were to do it on your own, right? So those large companies, they can be challenging environments. Maybe it's not a freelancer, you don't have the flexibility, but it could be a great foundation for education, for getting that network developed as well, working with all your colleagues and really diversifying the people that you're in touch with so that you can start investigating these specialties that you're interested in.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I think it just comes down to being clear on what you specifically need and what you're looking to bridge the gap with. I always took the networking route myself because I recognized that people were my way in and that having the validation that I'm already qualified, I'm already capable, and them inviting me in to do the project fits with my personality because then I'm like, oh, they need me, I'm valuable, I can do what needs to be done. Whereas someone else who's like, well, I already know that I just need like a lot of structure and a lot of support and I want to be given that training and I'm okay with doing that for a while and then stepping out of that. That's also a good option.
Just kind of a teaser for the next thing we could potentially do. And that might really be good for your audiences, getting found. So I'm noticing that trend as someone who hires contractors for regulatory writing and it places people. And on the client side, people are less and less applying and they're getting found through places like YouTube and LinkedIn and showcasing their expertise. Another great way to do it once you have a foundation of experience.
I love it. Yes, let's call it getting found. That's exactly the approach that I teach at Prospology is how to be seen as an expert in your field so that people approach you and ask you to help out with things as opposed to you chasing people around and trying to convince them to give you something. It's a very different energy and it's a very different outcome, I find.
Yes. Isn't that refreshing having people find you and say, hey, we want you to work for us versus us feeling like we're in the ask position. So it
Yes.
definitely changes the game.
Let's do that. That would be awesome.